everybody. Happy Friday. It's so nice to see all of you. I decided to do a subscriber stream because it's the end of the month. These are some fun topics. And I know some of you have been like, we want to be in the chat too. So I'm trying to do subscriber streams, at least once a month. And so here we are. So thank you, 80s model. By the way, if you're interested in receiving a gifted membership, make sure that you turn on your openness to accept gifts. That's the only way that you can get a gifted membership. That's the only way you would be open to getting one. And then YouTube picks the people who most interact with the channel. But you can just Google how to turn on accept gifts for memberships, and it'll come up very easily. But it's so nice to see so many of you in the chat. It's really moving. I even have it on slow mode, and you guys are still keeping it going, baby. Thank you, Adam Sphere. At the way live streams work, as usual, that's sweet, Sadie. The way live streams work, as usual, is that please keep your questions and comments to the story at hand. I will open up each story to questions and comments at the end of each section, and then at the very end, for 10 minutes, you can ask me anything you want. I don't necessarily have to answer it, but I might. And I think we'll have a particularly good time today because there's so many of you in the chat. All right, so thank you, Rena. That's very sweet of you. All right, so story number 1. Here we go. This is actually a very good stream today. I'm very excited about it. The hidden depths that I was able to find in the Superman story made me very happy. I was like, oh, this is so well put together. All right. So, story number 1. Boop. All right. The Super Bowl. Oh, I'm so excited. All right. Now, just a couple of days ago, they had said, the Super Bowl airs on Fox this year, and it's mighty expensive for an ad as usual. And there were a couple of comments that I even tweeted about where they were saying, we don't have as many movies and streaming services ads as we had expected this year. And I was like, maybe I guess I'll get to watch some of the Super Bowl after all. If it's a good year in terms of coverage, I never watch the Super Bowl, which is why I always watch the game, the evening championship game 2 weeks beforehand so I can get my Super Bowl or football feeling in at least. And I got to tell you, Chiefs versus Bills was quite the game. Thank you, Not Modern Art History. It was a great game. I really enjoyed watching it. And the Super Bowl, it's shaping up to be evil versus evil, but people are coming to play. We actually have a number of trailers. I think we're going to be very busy. I'll be reacting to all of the trailers, and then I'll be doing breakdowns for the big trailers the evening of, and then the next day on Monday, I'll break down the rest of them. All right, so only 3 studios are expected to participate this year. The only ones that have the money and the will. So you've got Disney, Universal, and Paramount. And we're going to go through each one. These are not confirmed. Nothing's confirmed. I just want you to know. Unless the studio actually says, tune in for our trailer at the Super Bowl, this is all speculation from the trades. And so we're going to go over it, all right? So Disney. Now this is where it gets interesting. Rumor is that Disney is only going to run 2 spots, but oh no, they have 3 movies. Who's going to get left out? Oh, it's pretty shocking. Now, many of us had felt that Fantastic Four was definitely going to get a spot because they're following the Deadpool and Wolverine release model. Deadpool and Wolverine, of course, debuted its very first look at the Super Bowl and went on to be a billion-dollar picture, a huge film, and we had thought that they were following that model to the T. However, they only have 2 spots. Now, here's the thing. Often Ben 10, what they do is they run a spot on the game and they say, go online on YouTube and watch the full trailer. So that's usually what they do because, they ain't paying for 2.5 or a minute of time during the game. So these should be trailers. Somebody might run a spot. Some people might just run a spot. So we'll see what they do. For instance, I'd be really surprised if they don't at least run a Captain America 4 spot. You might say that's the movie to jettison. But it comes out the week after, and there's so much riding on the the image of how Cap does. If Cap's a hit, they're like, oh, let's go. Marvel's ready to roll. It's continuing the, oh, hey, Bartleby, welcome back. It's good to see you again. Let's keep that momentum going. But if it fizzles, everyone's going to be like, it was all Ryan Reynolds. We knew it. So I feel like not having Cap there, even at least in a TV spot, would be weird. So who do you leave out? Do you leave out your big movie that's kicking off the summer first? Or do you leave out Fantastic Four? Let's do a poll as to who you would leave out. By the way, anyone could technically be in the chat. All you have to do is hit the subscribe button to be in the chat today. So, but as always, everyone can vote. So which Disney Marvel movie would you leave out for the Super Bowl? Okay. Hey, Marnique. Hey, Diva. Hey, right back at you. Cap 4, Captain America, Thunderbolts, or Fantastic Four? I guess I'd have to leave out Thunderbolts. I think people will be too disappointed if they don't feature Fantastic Four. That's how I feel. I think it would be, look at Sean. Sean's like, leave out Fantastic Four. They might. The head of the marketing division, there was a fan account, one of those social media accounts that specializes in a specific film. And they were like, oh, we're getting a Fantastic Four trailer at the Super Bowl. And the head of Disney marketing was like, I don't know about that, basically. Maybe that's a sign of that's the one they're going to leave out. But I think you gotta push the movie that's coming out the week after. And then I think people are just too excited for Fantastic Four. I think it would be, but then at the same time, this is really tough because you don't want to completely blow Captain America out of the water. Maybe you leave Fantastic Four out because Thunderbolts is such a similar film. It can stand a little bit of a delay because people are looking forward to it. If people are at the Super Bowl are just talking about Fantastic Four, will that help or hurt Captain America? It could help Captain America because everybody's like, come see the next Marvel movies. You get excited for Fantastic Four. I think we just continue to see the dilemma in releasing 3 movies in 6 months. They really should have pushed one until November. I think that a big franchise can only have 1 movie in a season. And I think that having 2 movies in the summer movie season has turned out to be very difficult. All right, so let me see what the vote is, how high it is. All right, we'll give it another moment. Let's finish out Disney before we go back to the answer on that. All right, so then Deadline got a little bit crazy. Deadline was like, maybe they'll show spots for Snow White, Lilo and Stitch, and Elio from Pixar. And it's like, how much money do you think Disney has to burn over there? I got to tell you, well, let's close the poll so that you can vote on this next one. All right, so 45% of you would leave out Thunderbolts. 38% of you would leave out Captain America 4, while only 16% of you would leave out Fantastic Four. People really want that Fantastic Four first look. All right, let me ask you, which of these is most likely to be at the Super Bowl? Yes, Cece, Disney does own Fox. Remember, they started this whole big kick on combining studios. All right, Snow White, Lilo and Stitch, and Elio. We'll do Pixar's Elio in case you don't remember what that is. I gotta tell you, I think I agree with many of you. I wouldn't even waste the money on Snow White. I mean, Taylor Swift is supposed to be there. Wicked is not gonna have a spot. So maybe you show a Snow White spot, but Lilo and Stitch, I think for sure. I think Stitch is gonna do something funny with a football. I almost guarantee it. Maybe he'll be inflating footballs. Disney's not that rascally. I'd have Stitch backstage inflating footballs. That would be hilarious. But I think that, I don't think Disney would put itself out in that regard. It's not like a Warner Brothers movie, but it's not like Looney Tunes. Looney Tunes would make that joke. But I think Lilo and Stitch will have a spot almost for sure. Elio, I wouldn't spend the money on an Elio spot unless they're really worried about it. But then I don't think it's going to make a huge difference. That's right, KK. I think he's going to be popping the footballs for sure. He's going to be doing something funny with a football. He's going to be maybe running through the stands of the stadium in New Orleans. he's going to be doing something. Ivan, I'll definitely watch Snow White. I mean, of course I'm going to review Snow White. It's too big of a movie, no matter which way it goes, hit or flop, not to cover. So that's Disney. I don't think that Disney is going to buy 5 spots. They might buy 4 spots, but I think 5 spots would be a lot. 4 spots I can see. They might do a Snow White spot, They might do it. There's a lot riding on that movie. It comes out pretty soon, actually. But I think Lilo and Stitch almost for sure. All right, let me end the poll because you guys pretty much totally agree with me. Let's see here. 75% of you think it's definitely going to be Stitch. 17% are voting Snow White. Only 7% of you are voting Elio. That's probably also lines up with the interest in those movies. All right, so Disney. I think Disney is poised to do a very good job on Super Bowl Sunday. But Universal, they might do, Mary Lynn says, what about a combined trailer? They could do a combined trailer. They could do a combined spot. Disney has a great 2025 ahead of it. They might do that. That's a good idea. They did that with Disney Plus for Marvel. So maybe they should consider that. That's not a bad idea, Mary. Okay. Universal, Jurassic World Rebirth. Boom, boom, boom. We can hear this thing coming. We can hear this T-Rex coming. We can see the ripples in our soda and beer cups. I think that you're almost 1,000% going to see a Jurassic World Rebirth spot. It's not 100% guaranteed, but it's like really close. They haven't done anything. They've been sitting on this movie, clearly, I think, for a big game spot. It's going to be fantastic. And I think it's going to be very competitive. Very, very competitive. Why not Wicked for Good, Mr. Andrews? I feel that they've already done, the movie's already a huge hit. I think also, I've been talking to some people, and I agree that Wicked's probably going to lay low until the Oscars. I think they want to keep the focus on the current Wicked, and if they run a for good spot during the Super Bowl game, it's going to move the interest in the conversation away from the film that's nominated for Oscars. So you might see a Wicked for Good spot at the Oscars. That might be where you see the first look at that film. Ho, 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 ho. All right. And I bet you Snow White is advertised at the Oscars as well. All right, then, How to Train Your Dragon is rumored to have a spot. How to Train Your Dragon is thought to have a spot. The live-action film, I think that will also perform very well. We've seen some teasers. We've seen some first looks. We have not gotten a full-on trailer. I think that's a great place to debut that trailer. I think Universal's cooking with gas. I think they have excellent choices. And I got to say, I even think that Megan is a good choice for the Super Bowl. Everybody loves Megan at this point. Megan looks fantastic. What's her new outfit going to be? Are they going to have Megan's on the field? Are they going to have some kind of cool, maybe it won't even be a spot for the movie, but a spot featuring, the dolls. They did a great job from the premiere for the film, from the advertising to Halloween Horror Nights, with doing really fun stuff with the Megan dolls. So I think that they're going to do something really fun. Oh, that's funny about the halftime show, Jerry. That's right. You never know. Maybe Megan will be part of the halftime show. I don't know how much Universal would have to pay for that, but that's a great frickin' idea. So I think that's really smart. And then here comes Paramount. They want to be in here too. I guess there are a lot of kids watching the Super Bowl for some reason. I'm surprised. I wouldn't expect them. Hey, John, I missed you too. But I'm surprised at how many kids' movies are having trailers during the Super Bowl. I guess it's family stuff. No talk, Nicholas, about streaming trailers. Some people always wonder if there'll be a Stranger Things spot. Although Stranger Things, now they're saying they don't even know if it might necessarily release in 2025. So I think it's too early for Stranger Things. We'll see. I bet you Stranger Things comes out around Christmas, just like Squid Game did, because they're really down to the wire on that. They filmed too much. They said the other day that Stranger Things 5 was 8 blockbuster movies. That each episode was the length of a film. I mean, I'm not complaining, but what a juggernaut. All right, so Mission Impossible Final Reckoning will have a new spot. Maybe Tom Cruise will do something crazy. I don't know. I feel like I really like the Mission Impossible movies. I love them. But I kind of feel that the movie might have been past its prime. The fact that people didn't respond to the last Mission Impossible, which was, in my opinion, the best Mission Impossible to date, shows a real problem with the franchise. But let's see what Tom comes up with. He was a big part of the Olympics. Everyone loved that. That's right. That'd be funny, Luke, if he was on the field as a player, that Tom Cruise. He's crazy, man. Then Smurfs. The Smurfs has a new movie coming out. And it said that the Smurfs will have a spot during the Super Bowl. That's crazy. I mean, I guess I'll react to it. But, like, that's crazy. I'm surprised, I'm surprised. I think it makes me more interested in the trailer. That they're like, yeah, let's spend $7.5 million on this spot, 30-second spot. You're like, wow, that's right. Rihanna is Smurfette instead of Katy Perry. People are going to really like that glow up. So that's not a bad idea, but that's interesting. All right, so yeah, Smurfs. And then Novocaine. That's got to be during the pregame. So there's so on Super Bowl, the Super Bowl starts like at 6:30, okay? Eastern Standard Time. However, there is a pre-show where they talk about the game and they talk about the players and they're on the field interviewing people. That's also the part of the game where I believe they run out onto the field, right? I always like that part. I never get to see it because they start the spots during the pregame because those are a little cheaper. In fact, Marvel has even been known to drop a spot during that cheaper stretch because, they're not made of money, man. They got to be a little bit fiscally responsible. So trailers could stop dropping as early as like 5 o'clock. They're going to be really close to the game starting, but something as early as 5, you might see that happen. So I bet you Novocaine is during the pregame because who would pay $7.5 million? And also I'd be like, don't you want people to see Companion? I mean, there's just a little bit too much Jack Quaid in the marketplace. But Novocaine is a Jack Quaid movie from The Boys. So that's good. We'll see how that turns out. But then, of course, Superman is going to be during the Puppy Bowl. I told you that they were going to use crypto to advertise this movie. And I think it's a very clever idea. I did not imagine that would cut them out of a Super Bowl spot, but here we are. Hey, Tony. So the Super Bowl, Jorge, is a week from Sunday. The Super Bowl, that's a good question, Jorge, if you're not in the United States. The Super Bowl is Sunday, February 9th. That's when the Super Bowl is. And you should think that it's going to start around 5. You should be prepared for trailers to start at around 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The Puppy Bowl airs on Animal Planet, which is owned by Warner Brothers. And so Warner Brothers can advertise on the Puppy Bowl for free. And the Puppy Bowl is where they have puppies. I think it airs during the halftime show. So you're like, you could either, who's performing at the halftime show this year? I don't even remember. Everybody says this sucks this year, the whole Super Bowl. But, the idea is that if you don't want to watch the halftime show, it's Kendrick Lamar. Okay, so Kendrick Lamar is performing at the halftime show. So if you're not into Kendrick Lamar, you can hop over to Animal Planet and watch some puppies throw around a football. Okay, like literally, that's what it is. However, James Gunn will be there with his dog, who's an inspiration for crypto. And you can see that. It's the exact dog. I wouldn't be surprised if he scanned his dog into the machine. He made his dog a ghost in the machine because that's the exact dog. It even has the one ear going up. It's just that dog, but white because crypto is white. But that's what the dog is. So James Gunn is going. So yeah, that's right, 80s model. It is pretty. I think this is very risky that James Gunn is making it. It's a risky thing to make it that if you buy a ticket for Superman, you're really buying a ticket for James Gunn. The point is, you're really supposed to be pushing Superman in DC. It's risky. It could work. I mean, let's see how strong James Gunn's pull really is. But I do think it's a nice spot. I think it's a nice spot that James Gunn's going to go there and say, because, they're going to be supporting animal adoption because his dog is a rescue. So James Gunn is going to be saying, crypto's a rescue dog. Don't you want to go and get a rescue dog as well? And I think that's really beautiful. I think that's a very good spot. I do think that it would be nice if there was like some footage. Maybe it's all crypto-centric. I don't care. Just anything to take the conversation off where it currently is. Just change the conversation, Gunn. Just change it somehow with whatever they do. But the problem is that this is the problem with going so early. Superman dropped its trailer in December. It was extremely successful. However, the competition that's opening right around it, Fantastic Four and Jurassic World Rebirth, are going to be at the Super Bowl. And is Superman not going to be there in a meaningful way? That is, I think, the issue with going so early. Like you're not. And here's also, what's more American than Superman at the Super Bowl? They both even have super in the word. I mean, I think it would be unfortunate if there was not. It doesn't have to be at the Super Bowl. I wish it was. But as long as there's something on Sunday, February 9th, that is what I think is important. Oh, thank you, Alex. That's what I think is important. That they show up with some kind of meaningful representation. Instead, Warner Brothers had that spot come out, which only had 2 new shots of footage. One that broke the internet because we were all like, what happened to Superman's face? But they, during the AFC and the NFC championship, they ran that TV spot. And the question is, are they going to just run it again for the Super Bowl? I mean, will they pay those fees? As Mr. Andrews pointed out, Warner Brothers has a real cash flow problem. And so, it's affecting what they can afford to do. Maybe he can't even afford to fix those shots. Even though everybody's like, you have time, go in there and fix those shots. But yeah, so this Puppy Bowl spot is free because it's the same company. So that's fine. I mean, you know what? As long as they get across the finish line, it's like, yes, they say in sports, who cares how you score as long as you score? Although ask anyone playing against Tom Brady how they feel about that. But yeah, it's just very interesting because, there's been a change in Warner Brothers publicity. The Superman trailer was dropped by the guy who did Barbie, who orchestrated the Barbie campaign. He left the studio. Was he fired? Did he voluntarily leave? Let's not get into it. But he's not there anymore. In fact, they've replaced almost everybody there in the publicity division. So suddenly, they've switched coaches, to keep with the sports metaphor. So let's see if it works. I mean, again, I want to be upfront and tell you that I don't think it's that bad an idea. I think the only problem would be if there wasn't an actual new spot. If James Gunn just shows up and says, here's my dog that I based crypto on, and you should consider adopting a dog, I mean, that would be a lovely thing to do, but I think it would be not good for the movie. If he shows up with even a 30-second crypto spot with more crypto footage, I think that'd be important. Just, again, to get the conversation. Get it off of that crazy shot from before, from the TV spot from last weekend with the crazy wall-eyed Superman. Get it off this lawsuit that we're both about to talk about. Just change the freaking conversation. By the way, speaking of just really such bad luck over there at Warner Brothers, so there is Zazie, James Gunn, and Peter Safran standing at the Flash premiere, a movie that James Gunn backed. I think, I genuinely liked it as well, but that's the cinematographer, and unfortunately his movie looks like The Flash because it's the same cinematographer. I was talking to somebody I know in the business, and they said that cinematographer loves to do shots like that, where they take a wide-angle lens and put it up real close to the subject, and they did that in The Flash. And people complained about how The Flash looked as well. I didn't have any problems with how The Flash looked, but some people really hated it. And so that to me is fascinating, just absolutely fascinating that it's having the exact same issues. But also you'll notice that in the corner of that photo is Supergirl, Sasha Calle, who got kicked to the curb in favor of Millie Alcock. So I'd be like, oh man, why'd you guys have to take your picture next to that lady? You did so wrong. But it's just really. All right, so does anybody have any questions or comments about the Super Bowl trailers? And then we'll move on to the next 2 stories of the day. Art says, if the Puppy Bowl is during the halftime show, I think it might be drowned out by Kendrick. He's on a career high after the Drake rap beef. Maybe. That's very true. Also, it doesn't matter, if you don't have to switch over. The point is, what does it do on the internet? But maybe, yeah, that's true. There might be very low viewership for the Puppy Bowl. Maybe even the kids want to see Kendrick. They're like, hey, kids, do you want to see the Puppy Bowl? And they go, no, I want to watch Kendrick. Paul says, do you think big video games should start advertising at the Super Bowl Sunday like Naughty Dog's new game? I think that's a great idea, Paul, and they certainly have the money to do so. I'm very interested to see what happens with Tati Gabriel. We'll talk about that in the upcoming, I'm sure, as we go forward with these things. But she's just in the video game space in such a big way. I'm surprised that she would antagonize them, considering she's going to be spending a lot of time with video game fans over the next year or so. Jamal, Michael Jackson Lionsgate can't afford a Super Bowl trailer. Sorry. Brandon says, could Marvel do a TV spot with Captain 4, Thunderbolts, and F4 like they did with WandaVision, Loki, and Falcon and Winter Soldier a couple of years ago? They could. They could say this is the start of a Marvel summer. But they said they had 2 Marvel spots. So, maybe one's Daredevil? That trailer kind of fell on its face. Faye, I won't be watching any of the Super Bowl. I'll be covering all these trailers. I don't watch the Super Bowl at all. Because look at all the fun I have to do with you guys. We're going to have such a good time. Twas says, what about a Wednesday spot? I think, let's see what Netflix decides to do. But there's no discussion. Netflix really just ran its own event the other day, and they did great with publicity. Their ta-dum, which is the sound that the Netflix logo makes when it comes up. That's what ta-dum means. And they're able to really do a good job. I don't know if they need it. Bobby says, will there be dinosaurs in the Jurassic trailer? I would think so, but you never know for sure. Let's see what they decide to spotlight. That's right, Garnet Fire. I like that new holiday. BT trailer drop Sunday. We're going to have a great time together. It's going to be a real party. I have a new shirt picked out. I really, I was like, should I get this shirt? I need to wear it for something special. And I decided to wear it for the Super Bowl. So it's sitting all ready to go. I'm very excited to debut it because I got to wear it for a lot of videos. And so I hope you like it as well. Rob Wall says, which of these trailers will make the biggest splash? Well, I got to see them, obviously. But I think Fantastic Four will make the biggest drop if it actually drops. Right behind that, I would go Fantastic Four, Jurassic World Rebirth, How to Train Your Dragon, and then a Superman spot if they actually have a new spot. Those would be the 4. Fantastic Four, Jurassic World Rebirth, How to Train Your Dragon, Superman. Everything else will just be nice. But I'm talking about making you excited. Everything else will just be a nice spot that brings up audience awareness. But those would be the 4 that would be doing the Lord's work when it comes to movie advertising. That's right, Nate. They need a really good Superman shot to erase to just cleanse us of that crap shot. You're like, your movie's going to look good, right? James Gunn's like, Philistines, it has no visual effects or CGI in it. And everybody said, David Cornsweet can really fly? He was like, you all suck. And then everyone was like, your shot's ugly. And it just went downhill from there. I don't know. I think that's James Gunn in a nutshell. Even when you want to root for him, you're like, dude. Because people were nice about it. They're like, that shot's pretty bad looking. And he could have just not said anything about it. He should just let it go and fixed it. But now he's just like, it's a great shot. And you just don't understand it and appreciate it. And I saw some James Gunn fans who are in the VFX community backing him up. They were like, doesn't have any VFX in it. And we're all like, who cares? It looks bad. All right. All right. Oh, John Thrasher says it's called gaslighting. I don't know if I'd go that far because I don't think it's malicious. I think it's obstinance. That's what I would say. That's right, Mike. Learn from Sonic. He got a really good... He's lucky, actually. That's a great point. He's lucky. And I like the Sonic comparison. I think that's funny. Everybody said, hey, buddy, thanks. I'm glad you showed this to us so early. I feel bad that no one who works for James Gunn said the same. He should value that, he has a very good relationship with fans. And he should, he should think of it as a two-way street. Maybe this is evidence that he only thinks of it as a one-way street. Okay, let's move on to the next story of the day. I told you I'm trying to be positive about Superman. That's funny, Market Fusion, because George Lucas did the same thing. George Lucas refused to take notes. He would not take feedback, and look what happened. But yeah, I told you. I said when they announced that crypto was a big part of the movie that it would be used primarily to advertise the movie, and it was a play on Rocket Raccoon and Groot. And I've been correct on that, and I think it's a good idea. So the only thing they need is to have new footage on Sunday, a week from Sunday. Okay. Let's move on to the next story of the day. Let me get my arrow to the right place. All right. Boop. Oh, I love this story so much because I think it's fascinating. All right. Where's my arrow? Okay, so it was announced today that there is a Superman lawsuit. And someone said, first time? That's right, because there was a Superman lawsuit back in 2013, which was resolved in 2014, supposedly. So back in 2013, the estate for Jerry Siegel and Jerry Schuster sued Warner Brothers, saying that they should be protected by. There's an element in copyright law that if the deal was not done in good faith and was exploitive of the original creators, they have the right to renegotiate it. However, Warner Brothers was able to get around that by saying that they had struck a new deal with Jerry Siegel's widow, although I think Schuster's not covered, but that was the new deal that they were working off of, and that was a fair deal that they argued, and nobody knows what the argument is to that. Although I will say that this is pretty bad optics, that the original deal, isn't that sad? In 1938, Jerry Siegel and Jerry Schuster sold the rights to Superman for $65 a piece. That's how much they each got. And in today's dollars, it's about $1,400. That's shocking to me and really sad. And it wasn't even work for hire. Maybe it was. I mean, I'm not quite sure what their negotiating power was, but that's really unfortunate. I mean, that's just nothing. I mean, you should have even given them at least 1%. Do you know how much 1% would be of Superman? It's just very sad. So that's pretty bad. So the 2013, it came out when Man of Steel was coming out, and Warner Brothers was able to make it go away. All right, but there's a new lawsuit. So these are the two Jerrys, Jerry Siegel and Jerry Schuster. But there's a new lawsuit in town, baby, because they feel they can get around it. So what's the angle this time? They feel that while American law has protected Warner Brothers, copyright law in Canada, the UK, Ireland, and Australia is more on the side of Siegel and Schuster. So the estate is arguing that they can deny Superman being released in these territories. UK and Australia and Canada are particularly very strong territories, which would substantially hurt the film. It wouldn't be horrible, but it's not great. And also, I don't think Warner Brothers needs this in the conversation. They don't need a conversation going on about how not only their film can't release in England, a lot of movie fans in the UK. Can you imagine that? But also, they don't need a story about how they're so horrible to Schuster and Siegel. Hey, Devon, thanks for gifting a membership. It's pretty bad, makes them look really bad. So that's why I wanted to say, the Superman movie image. What's going on with this film? It came out of the gate so strong, so incredibly strong. Then it got hit with this crazy shot, with the wall-eyed shot, and James Gunn refusing to, take the note. And then also, and the headlines that came out of that, I got to tell you, the trades really leaned into it. And now this lawsuit is a horrible headline, because I think you have to remember what's Hollywood's current image today. A lot of people are against James Gunn's Superman, especially because he's made it James Gunn's Superman. It's Jerry Siegel and Jerry Schuster's Superman. Is it really anybody's Superman? Is it mostly the fans' Superman? Who has true ownership of this? So I feel like, Hollywood, a lot of people are upset with Hollywood. They feel Hollywood is dismissive of the little guy. And this is a really good example of the little guy being dismissed by Hollywood. So I think that's problematic. I also wonder what kind of judge they might get. What if they get a judge that's, not very pro-Hollywood, which I think these days is very likely. The judge was very much in favor and backed up Warner Brothers back in 2013, but that was over a decade ago. So they could have themselves in a very different situation legally this time. But this is where things get even more interesting. So let's take this conversation in a little bit of an interesting direction. Warner Brothers has a couple of legal headaches headed their way, because what about public domain? We've seen what's happened with Winnie the Pooh going into public domain, particularly those horror movies in particular. But as you can see, Superman and Lois Lane will enter the public domain in 2034, Batman in 2035, and Joker in 2036, followed by Wonder Woman in 2037. Oh my God! What that means is that you could tell a Batman, Superman, or a story involving any of these characters without having to pay Warner Brothers. They are in the public domain. Just like anyone can tell a Peter Pan story. Anyone can tell a story with these characters. Now, that's right, Alexander. There's a Pinocchio horror film coming out as well. And that one actually looks not bad. But here's what's very interesting to me. Do you know how you might be like, why aren't they doing more with Steamboat Willie? Right? Why aren't they doing more with Steamboat Willie? Well, that's because Disney's worked very hard to protect it. Why is Steamboat Willie featured in the logo for Disney Animation? Because that means he has a fresh layer of protection. That's very, very important. That's why he's in that way. Also, somebody was pointing out to me that the cartoon, they have a new Wonderful World of Mickey Mouse, right? And he looks very much like Steamboat Willie. They remodeled the character to have a lot of similarities. So if you try to do your take on Steamboat Willie, you can't, because there are fresh protections to the copyright with new versions of the character. Right, Faye? Right, everybody? It's very clever, right, Rob? So that made me go, oh my God, that's why they did this Superman. We were like, why is that Superman logo look like that? Where's my arrow? Why is that version of Superman in the logo? To protect the character. We were like, what a weird version of Superman to choose. Why would they put him in there? That's bizarre. That's because he looks like the early version of the character. That's the character from the original comic drawn by Jerry Schuster. That is the Max Fleischer animated series, which, by the way, I saw a clip of it a couple of months ago. It's actually pretty well done. But that's why they did it. And don't be surprised if they don't put out a Batman logo and a Lois Lane logo. I mean, a Joker logo, a Wonder Woman logo. And, maybe they might do a new comic drawn in that style. And that's the way they could make sure that you can't use the characters. So it's very, very, very clever. So look for that, and that's why now I'm a little bit more forgiving of that logo. I still don't think it works. I think they need to find a way to rework it. Maybe Superman through the decades, right? Maybe just something. But that's why they're doing it. And it's very clever. It's, when you look at the, let's see here. When you look at the Disney logo in comparison, it makes perfect sense. It's the exact same thing. So that to me is fascinating. All right, so does anybody have any questions or comments about this story? About this lawsuit situation? Psycho says, so what version of the character can you use in 2034? That's the problem, Psycho. You could probably use the term Superman, but he couldn't look anything like the character because then you would be sued. So you'd have to look totally different. The reason they can get around the Winnie the Pooh and the Pinocchio thing is that those things were published prior to Disney's ownership. But since Warner Brothers owns DC, they own those characters from conception. And that gives them a little bit better protection. J. Jonah James says, how can books go to public domain but not comic books? All you have to do is re-release a version of the character. Well, no, that's a good question. That's an excellent question. I think the issue is that it's just a re-release of the book. It's not new material from the same author because the author's dead. So the difference is that it's still being used by the company, and I think the visual aspect of it is what saves the day. Diongo says he refuses to accept the Pooniverse, the evil Poon. I mean, I don't know. It's doing pretty well. Oh, Vince, it's my pleasure. I think it's really interesting, and I'm glad you guys find it interesting as well. Bebop says, what are famous public domain characters? Peter Pan's a big one, Alice in Wonderland, any of the fairy tales. Those are obviously really big deals. Pippi, I don't remember off the top of my head how long it takes for Marvel characters to go to the public domain. I think it's 100 years. So any character, just go look up their first appearance, add 100 years to it, and that's public domain. That's right, Andrew. Wizard of Oz is in public domain, which is how they were able to make Wicked. How Gregory Maguire was able to write it in the first place. Oh, that's right, Hector. I'm in my lawyer era. Well, that's right. Thank you very much. Mika, that's right. Great Gatsby. Movie TV reviews is Snow White in the public domain. Well, I think they keep using it to some degree, but Snow White, the original story, is in the public domain, which is the whole reason that other studios have been able to make Snow White movies, like the one with Charlize Theron and the one with Julia Roberts. That's right, Rob. Frankenstein is public domain, which is why anyone can tell a Frankenstein story who wants to. A Christmas Carol, Dracula. You guys have got it. By Jove, you've got it. Thanks, Billy. All right, I think we're ready for the next one. Oh, that's right, Fazbear. Nosferatu is public domain, so they didn't have to pay any money to anybody. That kind of sucks. The people who made the German film are like, wait a minute, what? All right. Let me move my arrow. Third story. It's a juicy one. Oh my goodness. This is blowing the whole Oscar season wide open. That's right, it's blowing it wide open. Boom, baby. Oh my gosh. This is craziness. All right, so let's go to the story. Hey, Marty. All right, that's right. What is it over for Emilia Perez? I'll tell you, I think that it is over for Emilia Perez, particularly by the time we're done with our conversation. It's over. All right, so, of course, this movie has already been awash in controversy. We talked about it on Wednesday. We had a live stream where I talked about Hollywood's Emilia Perez problem and how I felt it made them look tone deaf and that they were forcing representation on people who said, this is horrible representation, we don't want it. But yet somehow, things got even worse in the last 48 hours. So, Karla Sofia Gascon had several tweets resurface. I can't even repeat them. There's a headline about what she discussed. And I believe also a certain German war criminal has also been the subject of some of her older tweets. They're just so bad, they're shockingly bad. James Gunn's like, and I thought my tweets were bad. These are the worst tweets I think we've seen yet. They're so bad. She deleted her account, too late. And also, some of you have pointed out she's been unfollowed by the Academy, but they can't take back their nominations. So it's just an absolute disaster. I'm not repeating it. So you can see this headline. You can see the headline here about some of the things that she said. It's really bad. So that was really bad. And she's been saying that's not who I am anymore. You know, all the typical plays from the apology playbook. All right, all it's left to do is take out a ukulele and sing a song. All right, but she can't sing because she had to have AI help her hit the notes for the movie. Oh, all right. But then it got even worse because the director, who's been a real jerk, said this. Oh my God. Oh wow, Giancarlo. That is so kind of you. I hope you guys turned on gifted memberships. That's very kind of you, Giancarlo. Thank you. So yeah, look what that director said. I can't even repeat this. It's so bad. Look at that. I'm glad you guys like my ukulele joke. Oh my God, I can't believe this guy said that. I think these people are not very nice, and I think they're upset with all the controversy, and it's making them meaner. That would be my guess. This is when agents and PR people are supposed to step in for you and say, oh my God, take a time out and go over there because this is just an absolute disaster. But instead, they're digging in, like James Gunn and his insistence that he didn't use any CGI. And so therefore, the shot is good by default. And everyone goes, that's not how it works. But this is like a whole nother level of problem. My God. I can't believe he actually said that and thought that would be okay. Hey, Eric. I mean, I just don't even know what to say. It's so bad. The things are so bad, you can't repeat them. So what does this mean for the overall film? What a disaster. Suddenly, here they are at happier times at the Golden Globes. What does this mean for Zoe Saldana? I mean, I think it's over for them for Best Picture. You know, they're certainly not going to reward that behavior. I mean, especially because it's not even coming from just one person. But, you know, what about Zoe Saldana? You know, do you want to reward this film at all? I think it's really bad. I think it would be, I don't know how other people will vote. I can tell you personally, as somebody who votes for Critics' Choice, and unfortunately, I don't think I voted for Emilia Perez and anything. I don't recall. So long ago at this point. But I already cast my votes for winner, so there's nothing I can do about it. But I think that I would have a real problem voting for anything from Emilia Perez at this point. I wouldn't want to reward the film in any capacity. Selena Gomez is like stuck over here. She's like, oh my God, what are we going to do with this? I mean, it's just an absolute disaster for these people who are like, they didn't say anything wrong, but, look who they're standing next to. It's like everyone who bought a Tesla who's like, holy crap, man, how did I get involved in this? Why am I in it? So it's just absolutely a disaster. You're going to have to start vetting people before you sign on to projects. Who are you getting into business with? Like, look at Scarlett Johansson, although I think Justin Baldoni's coming out okay. But Scarlett Johansson's directorial debut is produced by Justin Baldoni. So you're like, oh my God, again, how did I get involved in this? All right, so let's go. Here comes the slam dunk, baby. All right. How bad is it? Ho, 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 ho. Here's the voting timeline for the Oscars, my friends. Voting hasn't even started. Final voting hasn't even started. It starts February 18th. Oh no, February 11th. Final voting begins. It's over. They maybe could have hoped people might have voted right after the nominations were announced. No, it's done. So the nominations were supposed to come out on January 17th. They came out a week later, I think like on the 23rd or something. So they have the nominees luncheon coming up on February 10th. She's not going to that. I don't think anybody I'd be shocked if anyone from Emilia Perez went to that luncheon. I do, Jay Marr, I feel bad for Zoe Saldana. She just can't catch a break. Either she's in motion capture or she's under a bunch of body paint or this happens. How is she going to go to that event? Because there's press at the event. And so people are going to say, hey, Zoe, what do you think of your co-stars? And what's she going to say? There's only really one thing that she can say, and does she want to come out that aggressively against her co-stars? I think the Hollywood playbook for these things is keep your head down and get out of there. It's very bad in Hollywood to talk badly about other people. Stay in your lane is a big thing. Which is, I think it's even against the Hollywood Oscar rules to trash talk other people and accuse them of stuff. So that's why the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively thing is so crazy. You're like, this stuff's supposed to be litigated behind closed doors, man. How is this happening? So yeah, so final voting hasn't even started. And it won't start for like another 11 days. So it's done. This movie's done. It's done. I bet it doesn't win a single Oscar. So what happens now is, what does the race look like without Emilia Perez in it? What happens to this race? It blows everything wide open. Best picture, best actor, best director, best song, best screenplay. Just a ton of things. That's right, Lucas. She did attack Fernanda Torres, but the Academy says that ended up not being against the rules. So, who's left? Let's take a look at Oscar drama. Oh my God, it's just crazy. There's so many scandals. Movies are getting taken out left and right, which is another thing that's kind of helping Conclave, because in Conclave, there were a lot of frontrunners to become Pope among the cardinals, but they kept getting taken out by drama, by leaks and evidence and reveals. It's like real life Conclave, which kind of makes it like very funny. So that's right. I do agree with Faye that this really helps the most Conclave, Wicked, and The Substance. I think those three movies, Garnet Fire said it as well, I think they're going to do very well, probably. And I actually just got an email for another Conclave screening. I'm like, I don't want to watch that. I mean, I got more new stuff to watch. I can't go watch old stuff. And also, I already voted. I'm done voting. But yeah, I think you're going to see pushes from those three movies, The Substance, Wicked, and Conclave. They're going to really push now because all these other movies are in trouble. Emilia Perez, done. Done, 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 done. The Brutalist, the AI scandal. Are we really going to let that go? It's a slippery slope. As soon as you let it go in one movie, another movie's going to do it tenfold. And they'll say, you didn't punish The Brutalist, so why are you going to punish my movie? As I've said before when I was covering that scandal, this is, I think, more vital than even the strikes. This is the tiny crack in the dam. And if you don't seal it up now, it's just going to get bigger until it gets to the point where you can't seal it up anymore. This is the fork in the road. I wouldn't vote for the brutalist for anything either. Fernanda Torres. Now, obviously, Karla Sofia Gascon came after her. However, Fernanda Torres, I can't even say out loud what she did because I don't think you can say that on YouTube. But let's just say she did the same thing that the Prime Minister of Canada got caught doing and that Blake Lively apparently said that she did. That's right, some of you have written it in the comments. It was pretty bad. She apologized, but she still did it. So it's pretty bad. That's pretty bad. I think that's right. There was Robert Downey. She pulled a Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder, although that was making fun of it. And I think that was the fact that Robert Downey Jr. and Ben Stiller did such a good job with that just shows how clever Tropic Thunder really is. But yeah, I think it's gonna be pretty hard for her to win having done that. I think that's pretty bad. But then there's Anora. Anora has a problem, and that a lot of people are upset that there wasn't an intimacy coordinator. Now, you might say, well, whose choice is that? Is that really, if the cast was okay with it, is that really an issue? But as I told you, that's right, Caliban. Sebastian Stan's like, hey, look at me, guys. That's right. This could really help Sebastian Stan. But I think the problem with the intimacy coordinator is that if you watch that movie, the fact that movie doesn't have an intimacy coordinator is just shocking. It seems exploitive. And even though Mickey Madison can swear up and down that she didn't want one, it seems like maybe that's just poor judgment on her part. You're like, yeah, I know you said you don't want one, but you should have had one. It was you shouldn't have done it. So I think that's an issue as well. So I have to tell you, I think that all four of these movies are almost, I think they're pretty much all out of the running. I think it's less so for Anora maybe than the others, but I do agree with you guys that Conclave and Wicked and The Substance are going to go a lot further. His name was Crazy says, but what about Her Body, Her Choice? I think if you look at old films, like what's that one, Last Tango in Paris with Marlon Brando? That is like a shocking situation. And at the time, the actress had said that she was all right with it. But many years later, she came out to say that she was not. And I think you just don't know what's going on. Is it inexperience? Is it youth? Is it pressure? I think that if, for a while for a long time there weren't intimacy coordinators. But now that there are intimacy coordinators, I think that I'm just shocked that movie, I think it was made independently. Yeah, because no studio would allow that. No studio would allow it. J. Jonah Jameson says, would an intimacy coordinator have made a difference? I don't know if it would have changed the context of the film, but I think it would make people feel more comfortable with it. I was really shocked watching that movie. I was like, wow, this movie goes further than I would expect a movie to go. And I would feel very uncomfortable not having an intimacy coordinator. If I had anything to do with that movie, I would be like, I'm not giving you any money or a green light until you hire an intimacy coordinator. It would be a must. That's right, Mr. Andrews. It should have been mandatory. I don't care what anybody says. I would have insisted on it. Not only because it's the right thing to do, but because I don't want to get sued. All right. So does anybody have any questions or comments about this story before we go to the Q&A? That's right. It's been a spicy stream. Spicy stream. Caden says, is a film garnering 13 nominations to become radioactive the biggest fall from grace in cinema awards history? I believe it is. It's certainly one for the history books. I gotta tell you, this has happened a lot at this point. Why is Hollywood so bad at vetting? It makes me feel like they don't want to vet. It makes me feel like they don't want to spend the money to vet. Really. We've seen this happen a lot at this point. I'd be like, you guys, you gotta vet. Like, when Netflix bought this movie or was thinking of buying it, why didn't they be like, I mean, look, regular people are finding these tweets, right? I think it was one author from Canada who found the Karla Sofia Gascon tweets. I mean, go find one of these internet detectives and hire them. Be like, hey, internet detective, you do a great job. I'm a fan of your work. Would you go investigate these people for me and I will pay you handsomely? I mean, I'm shocked that Hollywood still doesn't understand. Maybe they're like, we don't want everyone to get vetted, you know? Maybe that's why. But I mean, it's getting to the point where you're like, I want them vetted. I'm not saying that, I think everybody has it's hard when everything that you have is out there. So I'm certainly not advocating for cancel culture run amok, but there are certain people like this, Karla Sofia Gascon, where these tweets are just indefensible. There's no way you can get around it. So you don't want to be blindsided, and there are some situations that just, you're not going to be able to recover from it. Oh, Amazon. Well, I can't say for sure that that's true, but you're saying that you work at a hotel on Sao Paulo and that Gascon was not very nice there when they did the press there. I mean, it seems like that might be true, but obviously I can't take your word for it. Steven says Luca has had this has said he has intimacy coordinators basically take over directing the scene with the actors, and he simply leaves the set, trusting they'll get the shot. You're talking about Luca Guadagnino, obviously, and those are some pretty sexy shots over there. Whoo! I don't know if the director needs to leave. I mean, obviously it should be a closed set with very few people on it and be very respectful. But yeah, I mean, you really, I can't imagine, there's no reason not to have an intimacy coordinator. They can't, I don't think they can rescind, the only way they could rescind nominations was if the movie broke any rules, and it didn't. It's just made by horrible people. Let's see here. I'm going back. I missed some comments here. All right. Future movie actor says Diane Warren getting song looking pretty good, dang good right about now. That's right. It might finally. I gotta say, to some degree, I think it kind of sucks to win an Oscar this way. Who wants to have an asterisk where they're like, people were going to vote for Emilia Perez, but then it turned out everybody who worked on that movie was disgusting. So, or the main people. So we gave it to you. And you're like, just take the Oscar and run. Nobody cares a couple of years from now. But yeah, I feel like that kind of is a little sucky, Devon says, do you think Sophia will work again? I do not think that she will ever work again. Justina says, AI scandal in brutalist case is ludicrous. AI is being used everywhere in today's cinema. Yeah, but the question is it a tool or is it being used to be, to falsely represent artistic work? That is where the line has to be drawn. I think that in this case, it was used to represent artistic achievement. I'm glad you're happy, Philip. That's a sweet thing to say. Ryan says, how would you advise the telecast to handle the Fab Five presentation of the nominees? No one is going to want to present her as a nominee. I know. Ooh. Maybe they'll have to change. Maybe Conan O'Brien will have to do it. But why would I don't think anybody would want to do it. I have no idea who they're going to get. Maybe they'll have to change the way they do it. Every time the movie plays up on screen, everyone's going to think of these tweets for the whole telecast. It's a disaster. Psycho says, do you think Ariana Grande maybe will win now? I'm not sure. Again, I think it kind of tarnishes her Oscar win. It's like it should have been Zoe Saldana, but we'll give it to you. But you, Ariana, you take that Oscar. You just take it. And Andrew wants to know the same thing. I think it does increase her chances a little bit. Zoe Saldana is such a nice person. I think she's the only one who might still be able to slip through. Wiki Nomad says, Team Wicked for all the wins. I'm sure Wicked's holding its breath. They're like, did we do anything that we don't remember? Do you think anything might come up? That's really scary. That's right, Ricardo. Conclave predicted it all. Oh, Johnny wants to know what vetting is. Vetting is when you go through somebody's history, particularly nowadays on social media, and you make sure that they didn't do anything really bad, or you clean it up, or at least you're prepared. You're like, someone's probably going to spot this. We better be prepared. And are we willing to be prepared? Are we willing to go to bat for this individual? You know, I have to tell you, I said something about James Gunn's tweets. I thought James Gunn handled that situation incredibly well. You know, that was a really good model for how to handle that kind of a situation. And I'm surprised that he got around it because they were pretty bad. But I think what helped is that he was able to say they were just really jokes in bad taste. You know, he didn't actually advocate for any of that stuff, and he didn't actually do anything. And so it's just jokes like in horribly bad taste. So, you know, and I think he had a lot of people stand by him. Like a lot of people stand by him. And that was really a big thing too. I think it tarnished his image as a person, but I think not so much that people would not go see his work if it looked good to them. Gabriel says, hey, Grace, do you plan on seeing I'm Still Here? I'm not sure. I hope to get a chance before the Oscars. Thank you, Gimmo. Sahib says, I still think Wicked deserves to win. The story of a fascist demonizing marginalized communities is incredibly relevant. That is incredibly relevant. I really like Wicked. I would be very happy with a Wicked win. I'd love to see blockbuster movies being recognized at that level. And I mean, they used to win. Big movies like that used to be able to win Best Picture. And I'd love to see a happy movie winning. You know, as we've discussed, you know, keeping people happy is just as important as highlighting pain. And so I think positivity is just as important and as difficult as negativity. So I would really like to see a Wicked win. I think it's an incredible movie. Midnight Eye says, do Hollywood and Democrats... Oh, let's see here. All right. Midnight Eye, that's a very slated question. I don't know why you're involving Hollywood and Democrats in this situation. Only this director said that. I mean, Latinos have huge purchase power at the box office. Hollywood loves them. Loves them. They're making The Boys in Spanish, the whole show in Spanish. You know, what was I watching? I was watching Landman. They didn't even subtitle the Spanish sequences, which I thought was really great. All right, Stephen Turner says they need to get rid of the 5 past winner format at Oscars this year because who wants to, yeah. I'm glad you guys like my pink shirt. I appreciate it. Liam, as I said, the nomination can't be rescinded because they didn't actually do anything, you know, that violates Oscar rules. Norwegian Kryptonian says, what is it with Warner Brothers and Superman's face? Didn't they learn anything from him? That's funny. It is weird that it went back from the, you know, the crazy mustache dilemma in Justice League. All right, let's see here. Justin says maybe Mel Gibson will introduce Sophia. Maybe, you know, maybe Caitlyn Jenner will do it. Although, I don't know if Caitlyn Jenner even wants... Karla Sofia Gascon's tweets are so bad, I don't think you could talk Caitlyn Jenner even to standing up there and representing the film. That's how bad it is. John Thrasher says, could she withdraw her nomination? Because she just wants this to end? I don't know. This has never happened before. I would maybe, she might do it, you know, maybe that's something that should be advised because she can't go to the luncheon. She can't even go to the Oscars. She's done. So I'm not sure what to do. It's never happened before. It's never happened. We'll see what happens. My goodness. All right, let's go to the Q&A because we're already a little over on the time there. Okay. All right, Q&A, baby. Booyah. All right. So it's 4:41. You can ask me anything you'd like until 4:51, and then I have to go. Daniel thinks she's going to show up anyway? You know, she might, because she seems to have the total inability to read the room. I think it'd be wrong. She should not do that. Hey, Seuss, sometimes I see my older videos when you guys show them to me, but I'm busy making new videos. I make a lot of videos. This is a full-time job for me. Oh, hey, thank you, Lucas. Lucas says, should Marvel prepare a trailer for Fantastic Four to release together with The Thing and Human Torch and Marvel Rivals? I think that would greatly benefit them. I don't know. I don't know about that. I think they want to have a Super Bowl spot. They don't think that, they have to be very careful. They have 2 movies to promote that have not come out yet and will come out beforehand. J. Jonah Jameson says, will Will Smith eventually come back? I'm not sure. Bad Boys did very well, but yet I thought it was kind of lame that he was doing a Matrix his own take on the Matrix, that he infamously turned down, which was, he's still very wealthy, but, that was, Keanu Reeves has so much money from the Matrix, he's giving it away to people. But also because he's Keanu Reeves and he's just a saint. But I don't know about Will. I don't know. I think Will Smith will always be able to work, but I don't think he'll ever be able to get back to what he was. Thank you, Ryan. You're always so sweet. All right, hold on. Chris says, hasn't there been scandals with other nominees? Not really when they're nominated. It's sometimes in there, in a different season or a different time with a different film, or ends up being later. I don't recall any scandals like this for the actual film at the time that the nomination was happening. Danny says, Grace, do you like Wicked more than Barbie? No, I like them both. I like them both. They're very different movies. I think Wicked is more of a serious... Barbie's a great movie. It's a great light comedy, and I think it has a wonderful message. But I think that Wicked is it calls to mind the old-fashioned musicals they used to make, like My Fair Lady and Sound of Music, and I think that's really cool. Oh, Jay said that Sandman got canceled. I didn't see that headline, so I can't confirm it, but I'm not surprised. Yeah. You're going to see all of Neil Gaiman's work disappear, probably forever. Jackson, I'd love for them to bring back Oscar clips. I'm a big fan of clips during the show. Glubby, it's nice to see you. Hi, Grace, it's Glubby the Glubsnotter. Not sure if you covered this in a previous stream, but any idea on the next BTT Focus Group live stream? I'm not sure when that's going to be. Let me think about it. I'm working on it. That's right, Luis. Everybody got upset with Squid Game for not having a trans actor, but that cis male actor has been so wonderful in his interviews and in his performance as Player 120. And then you have an actual trans actress, and look what happened. I mean, I think I'm a big believer in case-by-case bases. I don't like blanket statements. Joe, you haven't been given a membership. This is a subscriber stream. But make sure you turn on gifted memberships so that you are more likely to get one. Just Blaze Disney says, do you think Cynthia Erivo has a higher chance? To be honest with you, I think that Demi Moore is going to get it. Happy birthday, Quershay! Happy birthday! That's wonderful. I love your use of emojis. I'm glad you're having such a great day and you're in such a good mood. Lee points out Casey Affleck. That's a good point, but that's, I think, not like this. I'm not getting into that. It's complicated. It's very complicated. I just want to say to you that Hollywood, for the most part, is a giant glass house. So nobody wants to throw any stones. Everybody has different size stones. I'm not saying everybody's on equal footing, but everybody's very nervous to throw stones in Hollywood. However, Karla Sofia Gascon isn't from Hollywood, and she said things that are so awful. She's like in the Mel Gibson camp. You just don't come back from these comments. They're just too horrible. Garnet Fire, I'm glad you think I handle these tough subjects well. They're very hard, particularly to handle live. Oh, Gunnar, I hope you have a great time in New York City. That's great. It's a little cold here, but do all the big spots, Central Park, Rockefeller Center. We have wonderful museums. Future movie actor says Demi Moore at this point is probably the most likely frontrunner. Also, Oppenheimer was a massive hit last year and ended up being a massive winner as well. I don't think The Substance is going to win across the board, but I do think Demi Moore is probably going to win. Factual opinion, Mel Gibson doesn't really work. I mean, he's definitely a Hollywood outsider. Thank you, Scott. Bebop says, you excited for Cynthia's EGOT status soon? I don't know if she's going to win. I'm glad you're so excited and you think that she will. But I think it's unlikely. But I would love her to win. I think she's great. I voted for her. Philip says, are you a KPDR fan? We know you like Trixie and the Katya show on Netflix. I don't know what RPDR is, so no. But yes, I do like Trixie and Katya. I thought they were a lot of fun. The House of Something says they waited until Return of the King to award Lord of the Rings in season 6 for Schitt's Creek, so they might wait for Wicked Part 2. Also, that's a more serious film. It has more dramatic elements to it, so I think that will help it as well. Oh, Lucas, that's very kind of you. Thank you. Daniel wants to know if I'm into bagels, because I'm a New Yorker. I like bagels. I think they're delicious. I like a good plain bagel. I like a toasted bagel with light butter. That's delicious. I also like a bagel with low-fat cream cheese and salmon lox, but no capers or tomato or onion on it. Get that off my bagel. That's my favorites. I'm not into everything bagels, although I know some people really like them. Blair says, did you ever watch the show Warrior that's on HBO Netflix? I watched all 3 seasons just to find out it was canceled. Oh, I'm sorry. You know what I'm watching right now? Landman. I love Landman. I would agree that the mother and the daughter are a little frustrating, but I kind of like Allie Larder on the show. I think she's playing a very interesting character. I love this show. I think it's really, really good. I love it. I've been binging it. I'm through episode 5. Thank you, Lucas. That's very sweet of you. Astronomy Critics' Choice has been delayed till February. Oh, Oscar Watch, I'm glad that you can get over my Super Mario review and we can still be friends. I love you too. Future movie actor says, wasn't saying Substance going to be, you weren't saying it was going to be a big winner. Oh, that's good. Formerly False says, what's your favorite restaurant at JFK Airport? That's such a funny question. I don't know. I usually don't have time to eat at the restaurant. Let's see here. Frank Brown says, James Norton got cast in House of the Dragon. I saw that. He looks like he's gonna fit right in on House of Zoolander. I'm like, it's gonna be great. John, Super Bowl is not this weekend, but the coming weekend after. So that's the weekend after this. But I will do movie math on Super Bowl Sunday. I'm just gonna try and get it up by 4 o'clock. I'm gonna try and get it up really early in the day so that I can take a break, probably watch a little TV, decompress, have some food, and then react to trailers all night long. All night long. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to react to trailers. It's going to be so much fun. We're going to have a great time. Wear my new shirt. Let's see here. Bye, Dancing Dog 60. Danielle says, Grace, did you get to see Nickel Boys and I'm Still Here? They're definitely underdogs. I'm afraid I haven't gotten a chance to see them. But I think that's really nice that you are supporting them. So Hale says, yes, it has been a long time. That's so great. You're more part of the replay crew. You don't get to watch the lives live. I love that. What a great name. Thought I'd say hi. Oh, hi. I'm glad, Sohail, you're missed. A Conclave, maybe Best Picture. I don't see a lot of love emerging for Conclave. I mean, let's see. I think they need to start pushing again. Oh, Bam. Demi Moore hasn't done a lot in Landman so far, but let me tell you, she looks fabulous. I'm like, Demi Moore, she's coming for Nicole Kidman's roles. She was like, she's super sexy too. She looks amazing. I actually took screenshots of Demi Moore and sent them to a friend of mine who has similar coloring. And I was like, look how good Demi Moore looks. If you think someone has good hair and coloring, take screenshots so you can learn their ways. I did that. I told you for Devil Wears Prada, I thought Anne Hathaway had the best eye makeup I've ever seen. I paused that until she was closing her eyes so I could see how it was applied, and I took a picture. Jacob says, Grace, what's your favorite part of your job? I have to say, interacting with you guys. I love doing it. I love it. I love it. I love it. You guys are all so great. You make my life richer. Let's see here. Ross says, what do you think of casting Demi Moore as Star Sapphire? Love that idea. I'm 1,000% behind it. Kagriel says, hi, Grace. Zoe Saldana has requested her name be spelt and pronounced properly, like Saldana. Oh, well, thank you. And with the tilde, kind of like Tandaway Newton. How is there a tilde in Saldana? Zoe Saldana, right? I'll try and make sure I say Zoe Saldana. I don't think I'm going to watch the Grammys, Spirit. When are the Grammys? I'm not a big music person, as many of you know. Diego says, what's on your, where are you on your Last of Us Part 2 journey? I finished it! I tweeted that I finished it. I loved it. I loved it so much. I think Abby's an incredible character. Trisha, I haven't listened to the new Weekend album, but I did see it trending. Dallin says, who will have the best beefcake at the Super Bowl? That's funny. Well, Red Hulk, obviously. He's a hunk of burning love. But I'm not sure. Let's see. I don't know if they can get, maybe one of the dinosaurs. Let's see here. Midnight Eye, stop trying to cause problems. Go ask Hollywood these questions. Okay. All right, I'm over time and I have to get going. All right, everybody. Let me just say hi to a couple of people. I'm going to focus on people who are not members, who are subscribers, just because they're not usually in the chat. Oh, Gareth! Thank you, Gareth. That's so generous of you. Thank you very much. Bye, Scores. Hi, Pew Pew TV. Hey, Tez. Hi, Matt Damrich. Hi, Fort Remy. Hi, Andrew Ian. Let's see here. Have fun at MegaCon, RJ. Hi, John Boy in Scotland. Hi, Manna. Bye, T. Hi, Tilks. Hey, Degrelem. Let's see here. Hey, David Madison. Let's see here. Wiki Nomad, thank you very much. Bye, hi, Patante. Blur Boy, I'm glad we're keeping you company while you have breakfast in Sydney. And hi to your cute little dog. You have a great evening too, Jason Wexler. Sam's excited about the Oscars now. It doesn't seem like it's a foregone conclusion. That's right. A wide open race is certainly more exciting. Thank you, Yessie. I really appreciate that. Hi, Enchanted Rose. Hey, Cannibal Kiddo. I'm glad. Thanks for being a long-time viewer. I really appreciate it. Hey, Mark. Hey, Blake. Oh, Linzik, I'm so glad you liked the stream. Hey, Devontae. Hey, Russell Harris. Let's see here. Hey, Tiago in Argentina. Hey, Ray, 03595. Hey, Brad B. Nice to see ya. Jordan. Hey, MK. Swiss Milla from Switzerland. Oh, I like how you have that in your name. Hey, LA Orsko. Andrew. Happy Friday to you, too. And hey, Jalen Wright. Hey, Icarus. I like that how you have those designs in your name. All right, I better get going. Happy Friday. My Heart Eyes review will go up tomorrow. Okay, everybody? Bye, bye, bye. Bye, bye, bye. Bye, bye.